And we are live. Do not adjust your sets. I'm back. This is Stoppage Time FC, Wednesday Night Live. You know how we do it. Haven't been on in a while. It's good to see the fellas again. And even though we are only 2 matches into the Premier League season, there is already plenty to talk about. But let's get the introductions out the way. Sky Blue Joe representing Man City. I'm the captain now. My man Zach representing Chelsea. Got our man Trav still representing Liverpool. And I'm here as a proud Arsenal fan. This is the best time I've ever had on Stoppage Time FC as an Arsenal fan. So I'm glad I can actually talk. But fellas, how's everybody doing? What are we going to talk about first?
Doing good, man. I'm sitting 2-0 and alone at the top of the table right now. I'm excited to hear what Ronnie has to say about Arsenal, because last week when we jumped back into it, we didn't have you here, and they have performed well during the preseason and the first 2 matches. My pick for last week, who was my favorite transfer, is continuing his hot run for y'all. So I'm pumped to hear what Ronnie has to say about his club, and I am very excited to hear what Zachary has to say on what's been going on between the guys behind him and the fun match that was Tottenham versus.
I think we should start. I think we got to start there.
I think we should start with Arsenal.
No. Okay, so let me say this. I'm not the most religious dude, but I believe in Jesus. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I like the team. It's a young team. They don't always do everything correctly, but they play hard. They play together. Am I still shaky on Arteta? Yes. But I can see what they're trying to do. Like, for the first time since he's been manager, I'm like, okay, now I see what you're doing. I don't necessarily agree with it in total, but I get it. And we have our first 5 matches are all winnable. I should come back here in 3 weeks and we should be 15 points out of 15. The test will become when we play the Cities, the Chelseas, Liverpool, Man United. Even as awful as Man United is, we have not played well at Old Trafford in years. So they still have to prove it in the big matches in the league, but I have no complaints about the start, for sure.
Well, you know what they say. You have to win. In order to win the league, you have to win the games you're supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
And these are games for Arsenal that they are supposed to win. And they look good. They looked fresh. They look inspired. I was really, really curious to see if their preseason form would continue into the regular season. And they were a little shaky that first 90 minutes of that first game. But they were composed enough. They shed away most of my fears in that regard in that second match. They looked brilliant. Gabriel Jesus has looked like a steal for them. So, as a Chelsea fan, that's just one more competitor to our, top 4 aspirations, if you will. But I've been pleased with what they did, and I know Joe and I talked about it last week, or 2 weeks ago when we were last on, that Arsenal would be sitting there with egg on their face right now if they had fired Arteta. Because then they'd be a club in shambles, trying to scramble and get a manager. And then, the same thing that I always hated about, Roman and his Chelsea squads is there was so much turnover, with the managers, that it's hard to establish any type of identity. So, I think Arteta has the ability to establish an identity so long as he's been backed. And, Arsenal showed this window that they're willing to back him in his, quote unquote, what he wants for the gunner mentality and identity. So it's in 3 weeks let's hopefully we're sitting here having the same conversation, because as much as I don't like having competition for my top four aspirations, I do love it from a football standpoint. I love going into matches that are true 6-pointers. I love going in knowing that we're going to go to the other side of London and have a slobber knocker that actually means something.
Right.
Yeah, with no, if they would have jumped the gun with Arteta, there's no way Jesus or Zinchenko, the two big money signings from City to Arsenal this past window, go there. They're off someplace else. So definitely good that they showed a little bit of patience and restraint. And I'm looking at the schedule like Ronnie was mentioning. Up until the United game on paper right now doesn't look too difficult, but like you said, Old Trafford, Arsenal, never know. But up until then, you guys got a real opportunity to rack up a lot of points up until week 9. So like October, you have a real rough stretch of Tottenham, Liverpool, Leeds, and then Man City. So you play 3 of the big dogs in 4 weeks time. So that'll be a real tough prove it moment for the Arsenal boys.
Now, speaking of slobber knockers, speaking of London, speaking of, I hate to be the back in my day guy, but anybody who watched Premier League football, late 90s, early 2000s, will tell you, Tottenham Chelsea this past week was 1998 to 2003 football.
Yep.
It was physical. It was fast. It was cards. It's managers getting into it. It's late game heroics. It's everything about the Premier League. Maybe it's not the most technical. Maybe it's not the most graceful football, but you talk about an absolute fun time. I feel like Chelsea should feel more than hard done by, not just because of the refereeing choices. I thought Chelsea was the better football team for pretty much like 3/4 of the match. I thought they were much better, but talk to me about, you're watching this as a Chelsea fan. As a neutral, I love it. I thought it was unbelievable.
All I gotta say is I hope Anthony Taylor hires a damn Secret Service squad, because that man is not safe anywhere in London. That is now Joe and I talked about it with the other Ron. We'll call him. Shout out to you, Jack, if you're watching.
Shout out to
him. Anthony Taylor has been involved in 8 matches, all within the last, I think it was 4 or 5 years, where a call that he did or did not make directly resulted in either Chelsea losing or tying a match. And they were critical calls or non-calls. We're talking the Leicester City FA Cup non-handball that he didn't call on Yuri Tielemans, the karate kick that Gazaniga, the backup Leicester keeper, put on Marcus Alonso, where he literally put his foot through his chest, was a no call. These are not. That Trav might remember this one. The Reece James, was it the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup that Reece James got that red card for that handball? That was an inadvertent handball, and that directly led to us conceding and then going to extra time and then losing in PKs. I don't want to harp on referees because that's part of the game. They make mistakes. They do this. However, and this is, I posted about this in the group the other day. Why is it and maybe you guys can help me understand this, because I can't wrap my head around it before I get into the match. Why is it that in the world of football, soccer, are referees beyond reproach? You can't question their ability to call the game, or you can't question their calling and officiating without being brought up on charges from the FA. Like,
Right.
why is, like, if I don't do my job correctly, I get my ass handed to me. You know, I get talked to, I get suspended, or, you know, I can get fired. But yet these men who are in charge of, you know, the games that are supposed to be at the elite level are making these mistakes. And Major League Baseball is the same way with Angel Hernandez. You know, you know, they routinely make these mistakes, just and nothing comes of it. I don't understand it.
It's that way
Especially,
across all sports, about basketball,
yeah.
NFL. Like, if you even mention a referee's call or anything, they slap you with fines. They get on you. And like you said, in any job that you hold, if you do something poorly, you get reprimanded for it. And there's zero transparency from any of the leagues that you want to talk about with any of the sports. There's no transparency on what the disciplinary procedures are with handling referees and when they make mistakes or have a poor game. You know,
The crazy part was on the Harry Kane game tying goal. Cucurella gets just dragged down by his hair.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not like in the middle of like the pile. He's like at the back post where everybody can see. A dude just all of a sudden just drops to the floor like he's been shot because he got his hair pulled. And it's no VAR.
And that's the maddening thing. Like, you look at the replay and the camera is literally showing Anthony Taylor's back, and he's looking right at it,
directly at the incident. Exactly.
And
yeah. And then you have that. Then you have Conte versus Tuchel.
Multiple times.
Just trolling each other. They go chest to chest. Conte jumps on Instagram with the IG story. I tells Tuchel, I should have tripped you. It's
the handshake like, at the end.
He tried to pull his arm out the side.
that was legit irritation and frustration and anger towards the other man. That wasn't just fake stuff. That wasn't just, they were legitimately pissed off at each other.
Like you mentioned, it reminded me of late 90s, early 2000s Prem, and ironically, it reminded me of a manager who coached both of these teams, Jose Mourinho.
Oh yeah,
you know,
oh yeah.
It was 100% Jose Mourinho in every sense, and it was wild, absolutely wild. But to go back to what you had said, 100%, and I'm trying to say this most unbiased way. 75% of that match, Chelsea were the better team.
Absolutely.
And the brilliance, the tactical brilliance of both of these men, because Conte switched formations when Tuchel's, three at the back were overpowering Tottenham. So they came out with a flat four in the back, and they took it away from the Chelsea wingbacks. So Tuchel decided, okay, I got you. Went to a 4-2-2, and it was just the same thing, right back again. It was Chelsea back and dominating and everything, and just watching the tactical brilliance from both of these guys was something special. It was a poor result for Chelsea fans. It was a poor result to feel like you got slighted when you factor in everything that comes to it. However, if you're talking about the second game of the year, a London derby, you take 1 point instead of none, and so that's, I guess that's a silver lining if you want to.
At least it wasn't a loss for y'all.
Yeah.
At least it didn't cost you
That's
three, 2 points, 2 extra points off of it. And to go off of a little bit what you said with the tactical switching of the managers, what's awesome about that is the game intelligence and the soccer IQ of all the players being able to seamlessly pretty much switch from 3 at the back to a 4 with 2 in the midfield and then 2 all the way up top, and just being able to watch a game where the players can execute what the manager sees and have that game intelligence to be able to shift formations and play in different places on the field and do what he's asking of them for both sides. That's just high level soccer, which you love to see.
Speaking of a high level, and this is now we got to talk a little bit about Man City.
Hey,
and this is why I'm not jumping on the Arsenal are going to be like a title contender soon, because you watched Conte and Tuchel last week. You watched last season. If you watched any of Man City Liverpool last season and watch Klopp and Pep, like there's a line at who are the best managers in the league. And it's those 4. And then there's a big, thick line for everybody else, which is why I'm not. And you go to City this weekend, Joe can talk about this. Erling Haaland, the big splash debut, 2 goals in week 1. They come out this week, and Erling Haaland, unless I heard this wrong, touched the ball 11 times all match.
You giving him 3 extra.
Okay, 8 times.
He had 8 touches.
And then Man City absolutely destroys. And their star striker has 8 touches all match.
One of which was the assist to start the first goal with Gundogan, and then another one was the start of the second half kickoff. So outside of those two, he had 6 touches throughout the rest of the game, and he was still a massively impactful player. He was occupying 2 and 3 defenders the entire game. And it wasn't like he was just running around being a guy out there. He was pressing when we didn't have the ball, and the intelligent runs that he was making to create space for the midfielders behind him and keeping the fluidity of what Man City likes to do is just wonderful to see. And it's just, after watching the first 2 Premier League games and then seeing a little bit of him in the preseason, it's just laughable that people said to me early on once we signed him that he wouldn't fit Pep's style and wouldn't fit what Manchester City likes to do. It's just not accurate information, because they love putting in low balls across. They never put in crosses up high because we would always have a 5'6" guy in the middle of the pitch. And Haaland, just because he's not somebody who's going to drop deeper and pick up the ball and contribute as much to the build-up play as a false nine is going to do, what does Pep do? He brings his fullbacks into the midfield and plays Kyle Walker and Joao Cancelo as 2 more central midfielders to kind of play right alongside Rodri to dominate possession more and create even more opportunities for the ball to move up the pitch that way. He was running a 2-3, like 4-1 at some point. It was some craziness going on. If you look at the heat maps of the first 2 games, Cancelo and Kyle Walker were both parked in the middle of the field pretty much the whole time. So he's still coming up with new wrinkles to keep people guessing on what they're doing. So it's going to take time to get him fully up to speed, but it's been fun to watch the first 2 games.
Both of you have players. This is I think the beauty of football is you just can't look at numbers and say, based on these numbers, this guy's having a great game or this guy's the best player. And both of you all have players like this. Chelsea has Kovacic. And then Man City, and I can't stand this dude because I just think he's kind of a personality. But Bernardo Silva might be the best. He arguably the best midfielder in the league. But he does things that are never going to show up goals, assists. Never.
Intangibles.
It's not going to show up. But he takes up great positions. He's always in the right place to get the ball. Kovac's Chelsea, same thing. Always in the right spot. And just watching City, this is going to lead to the next point. This is why Monday night Liverpool better beat Man United on Monday, because
this match is so intriguing to me.
Go ahead.
Never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined that it would be 14th place Liverpool versus 20th place Manchester United. The same Manchester United team who, if they do not score an open play goal or a goal period, their only goal of the month will be an own goal.
They are
like ass.
You truly have to get it out of your mind that you're watching Manchester United. You have to just like suspend, like, this is not who I'm watching.
They literally remind me of Norwich.
They are so terrible.
They're bad.
They are awful.
They are absolutely bad. And I don't know if there is enough in the tank for them, barring them bringing in some really late additions. I don't know if there's enough in the tank for them to even sniff the top 6.
They don't have anybody on that roster right now who you could say he'll get us out of it. Like remember they went to that one stretch where Bruno Fernandes had like a goal this every week for like 2 months. Okay, Bruno will save us. Ronaldo will save us. They don't have anybody right now who you could say.
If I'm not mistaken, though, when Bruno was peaking, the best part of that midfield was actually the person making him look that much better, and that was Pogba. That was when Pogba was healthy, and he was playing classic Paul Pogba, which is a brilliant midfielder. The problem is we see more often than not, the not brilliant Pogba than we do the brilliant Pogba. So, when Bruno is at his best, he has that help.
Now it's McTominay and Fred who are, oh my God.
McMuffin is not the answer.
Oh, they are so terrible.
You call him McMuffin?
McMuffin. Yeah, because he's soft like a fucking egg McMuffin, man.
And then they got Maguire, who's terrible. Lisandro Martinez is 5'2".
On a good day.
Did you see that the start of the game last week that Maguire lined them up on the wrong side of the tunnel?
Yes.
That's your captain.
He had to be told, as the captain who leads them out every game, that that's not the proper side of the tunnel you're supposed to be on.
Trav, think of this for the newly, and you as who are still new, relatively new. Just think about you're a Braves fan, and y'all go sit in the Mets dugout at the top of the first.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
It's not wrong. It's brain dead.
That's
literally brain dead.
That ain't it. That ain't it. It just ain't it.
He is.
Oh, y'all supposed to be over there.
Yeah. Y'all playing the Mets as we speak in Truist. And I say, we'll go sit in the Mets dugout and start again.
Visitors standing in the home section.
They don't have Zach and Joe. I'm serious. They don't have one player in that start 11 of any redeeming value right
now.
Jadon Sancho, their biggest signing, one of their biggest money signings to bring him back, and everybody was hyped up because he's coming back, has played for more managers than he has scored goals. He's scored 3 goals in a red jersey, and he's played for 4 different managers. But he somehow escapes all criticism. I guess Harry has a big enough target on his back to take all the shots because he gets 0.
I think they're so
criticism.
terrible, you just kind of forget he's there.
Well, I don't know how Marcus Rashford is going without, being slammed too, because he looks like, okay, and this is going to sound really bad, but I almost feel like Rashford, now that he has his OBE and like he's, big in the world of Britain political, spectrum, it's almost like Man United is a like, it's just kind of like an outlet. Like he goes and hangs out with his buddies on the weekend kind of thing.
No,
like,
it's
and I really rate Marcus Rashford. I think when he is on form, he is a very good player. But you look at that team and there is not a single person on that team that I would want
none.
One on my team. Period.
And you got guys, one, that are not up to snuff quality wise, and you can get away with that if you have a certain level of heart and desire and camaraderie, and they don't have that either. Their locker room is absolutely shattered because of the egos and personalities that they have in there. And you bring in this new manager who's everybody's hyped about is going to change things, and none of the players seem to have even bought into what he wants to do. He's trying to get them to run 13 miles or whatever it is in the next day because they got outrun by Brentford by that much. Like, these are professionals. They ain't gonna. That's something you do with like high schoolers. Like, I ain't gonna fly with a bunch of 25, 30-year-old people. They're not gonna be treated like kids in that situation. I don't think he's wrong for wanting to do that at all, personally. But you got to read the room and understand the people you're dealing with, and that is not how you win them back and inspire them to play better at this point.
They don't want to buy in. That's just it. Like I don't think he's exactly right for doing that. Like, that is actually the right move. I don't care what age they are, and at least in my opinion. The problem is, if you don't want to buy into what you're doing, then it's not going to matter. You could run them 313, miles, and it's not going to matter if they don't want to be there, if they don't have the desire and the passion to compete. And there is not a single person on that team right now that I'm looking at that I'm like, yep, he's got it. That he's in the, let's bring Zach Wilson into this. He's got that dog in him. Like,
question.
Mm-hmm.
Is that culture that bad over there?
Yep.
And it precedes the current manager. Yeah. It's been like this for several years now, and it starts with their ownership group.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have a guy like Arsenal in our darkest days. We had an Henry, a Fabregas, Alexis Sanchez. You had somebody that you could hold on to and say, hey, we're struggling. However, these couple guys get us out of it. Joe City fan, on our worst day, I still got Aguero. I still got Yaya Toure. On our worst day, we still got a couple guys get us out of it. Zach has had the Drogbas of the world, the Terrys of the world. If we're terrible today, somebody will get us out of it. Mm-hmm. They don't have anybody who you could point to and say, we're going through a bad patch, but this guy get us out or can help us get us out. I have nobody.
And it's supposed to be your captain. And therein lies the problem. You have an 80 million pound, captain who is complete and utterly worthless. I don't know if there is a center back you could pair with him in the world that will make Harry Maguire look good again.
And certainly not the one that's 5'2".
That is yet to be proven in this league.
They are in trouble. And I think, Zach, you're right. If they don't, in this next, we have what? 14 days after the taping of this show, if they don't pull out a miracle in this transfer window, and this is the team they're going to go with the rest of the season, you said top 6 is out. I think it's 8th at best.
No,
You better hope they discover the form of their lives in the World Cup and come back rejuvenated, because other than that, they are toast.
And that's why
absolute toast.
And with all the crap going on there, that's why it's such a big deal for Liverpool to go in there and just.
That's why Liverpool has to go in there and beat them on Monday.
For Liverpool, just for yourselves, you got to get a W on the board, because 2 draws out of 2 is not going to cut it, and you got to keep pace
against Fulham and Crystal Palace.
And how do we get ourselves into that? That's the thing. Like 14th place. Man, we supposed to be first. We supposed to be first, second. We supposed to be top 4.
And you know who's not playing on Monday, right? Big dog, big new signing, new center forward. It will not be participating in this game. So it adds to the intrigue, like Zach said earlier. Very intrigued by this game. It's very important for both teams to get a win, not even just a draw or point. Both teams badly need a win.
Yeah, a draw doesn't
their own
help.
Stuff. Man, United is just in shambles, so it's just like it's a
we gotta
lot.
take advantage. We gotta take advantage of the disarray of men.
100%.
Absolutely.
We just have to take advantage of them. Make them shoot shots at their own goals.
This brings me to my next point, and I have a couple of quote unquote hot takes that I want to run by you guys.
Okay.
One directly involves Liverpool, and my favorite signing of the transfer window was Sadio Mane more important to Liverpool than Salah. I've always thought so, and I think these first 2 games prove it, because Mane is still doing his thing in the Bundesliga. Now, granted, it's the Bundesliga and it's the Bayern Invitational. However, we saw directly what happens when. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Luis Diaz. I rate him very highly. He's brilliant, but he's not Sadio Mane.
No.
And Sadio Mane would have never allowed Mitrovic from Fulham to take over that game as a striker. Like he wouldn't have allowed it. He's got that fight in him. And for Mitrovic to be the first striker ever to successfully dribble past Virgil van Dijk.
Mane would draw so much attention that Mo Salah, Firmino in the middle, you were always going to only see one defender.
Mm-hmm.
And Diaz, to your point, has not reached the status where teams are like, oh, we better really pay him attention. So now,
and Crystal Palace paid for it.
Yeah.
So, Nunez, they went a man down. At that point, Crystal Palace should have stepped on their throat. And that's where, Vieira's in for the fight of his life at Palace, because they just don't have the talent there to do that. But to allow a 10-man Liverpool team to give Luis Diaz all that space, and for him, it was a brilliant play, a brilliant shot. But if you want to be a competitive team in the Premier League, you can't do that. You gotta, and what we're saying, you gotta win the games you're supposed to win. And after Nunez got sent off with that straight red, Crystal Palace should have won that game.
Yeah, that's Mane's important. I think they're gonna have to find in these next 2 weeks. They got to find another wing. They need another wing, or they got to find a more creative midfielder, because their midfield, Liverpool's midfield works hard, but they're not really that creative. And now, as Zach talked about, with Mane gone, they're gonna struggle to consistently create stuff. And they're gonna have to work really hard to create consistent number of chances that they had in the past couple of years.
especially with Thiago going to be out for a little while with that hamstring injury.
Yeah, that's tough.
That he's the only guy that you would have in that midfield that you would consider somebody who's going to unlock the defense with a through ball or find a cross to unlock somebody that's going to get open. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they're relying on Diaz and Salah to go one-on-one on the wing and beat somebody, and then kind of hopefully create space for whoever's playing in the middle, because it ain't gonna be Nunez this Monday. So
Bobby's gonna play there. I it would be amazed to see anybody other than Bobby play there.
It'll definitely be him for sure.
But as an outsider, when I watch Liverpool games, and this is something that I've noticed now that Thiago is out, I really think Liverpool should feed the ball through Harvey Elliott a little bit more. The kid's really talented, and I don't think he gets enough credit. I think he has that vision. I really do. I think he has that ability to take it to that next level, but I don't think he has the confidence to do it. You know, that's the curse with young players at big clubs, is that, and you carry. We'll look at Tchouaméni and Camavinga at Real Madrid. Ancelotti said it the other day. The shirt is heavy. You know, you have to perform at a much higher level every single time you step on that pitch when you wear a jersey that is heavier. And I really think Harvey Elliott could be something for that team. He really, the days of James Milner and Jordan Henderson, they gotta go, man. They gotta go.
And for those young guys at those big clubs with all those big names surrounding them, is like they have the talent and the ability to make an impact, but it's almost like at times they'll defer to the elder statesmen and the bigger name guys, and not always do what you're talking about, which is be creative and run the ball through that person. They're gonna defer to the big names for a while before they get fully confident in themselves. Mm-hmm. As a 18, 19, 20-year-old, I mean, that you're looking at Salah and Nunez and Jota and Mane back last year, and all these guys, and you're like, I need to get them the ball and feed them instead of, taking the ball into your power. And again, it go back to the Fulham game with the first. I think it was the first goal that Mitrovic scored was our friend Trent not tracking back on a cross and letting Trent somebody get a run on him and kind of falling asleep at the back post. That's it. That is becoming a all too common occurrence for somebody who's so brilliant going forward to fall asleep at the back post and let goals in.
So
he's not a defender.
Zach, what's your other hot take? Because I had a question for
both. This is going to spur some conversation, because it's a bombshell. So if you want to ask the questions first,
No, go ahead, do your bombshell, because my question was going to be about the last 2 weeks of the transfer window. But let's get to the bombshell. Let's go.
Okay. Well, this player could be involved in the transfer window if things are interesting. I think I figured out. Christian Pulisic.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he's got the IQ. I don't think he's smart enough. And I hate to say that. There's a reason that Thomas Tuchel has had him at 2 different clubs now, and he's fallen out of favor with him twice. And we talk about Thomas Tuchel, who is a brilliant tactician who likes to change on the fly. And I really think Tuchel has given him the opportunity. And he's given him the opportunity by playing him in multiple positions, because he's like, well, if he can't do it here, let's try him here. If he can't do it here, let's try him here. Because I look at it to date, he's played left wing, right wing, false 9, true 9, left wing back, and right wing back. I went back and looked at it. He's registered game minutes in every single one of those positions.
What do you think his position actually is?
To me, I know Christian loves to play on the wing. He likes the wing, and that he's best in the wing for a team like the US. I think he'd be better off as an attacking midfielder. one that is free to move right, left, and go kind of where he wants to go. The one thing I will say that Christian is very smart about is he's good at tracking back to the ball and taking the ball. We talked about Holland, how he's not great in build-up play. Christian is. Christian is really good at build-up play. But there's something missing here that I can't quite wrap my brain around. And this week, I was like, okay, we've played 3 different formations, and he's played 6 different positions. I know I'm gonna like if this video gets broadcasted on that US Soccer group, I swear I will be crucified because I am talking, heinous crimes here. I don't think Christian Pulisic is good enough.
Joe, what do you think?
I agree with Zach with that. I think it's also difficult when you're constantly being moved around to really get some consistency for him. And I have always liked him more central than out on the wing. I think he impacts the game a little bit more if he's in the middle of the pitch instead of out on the wing, just kind of floating. And there's been such turnover with players and who's coming in and out of that Chelsea lineup. I think it's tough on him, particularly to or any of the players really, just to gain any kind of traction right now. I can definitely see maybe not the highest soccer IQ. So I don't think Zach's too far off. I think he also just hasn't gotten any kind of consistency, and I think that's important, especially for some people that is super important and key for them to be able to grow. But
do you think
Zach watches him far more than I do, so I would defer to his judgment on that one.
Do you think which kind of leads me to my question, is the league, because sometimes it's the league is a bad fit, and sometimes it's not that the league is a bad fit. As Zach has talked about, he's fallen out twice with the same manager. Would he be somebody, and it probably would be maybe a little bit of shot to his ego, where maybe you need to play on a quote unquote lesser team just to kind of find yourself again? Because to me, that's my hope. We talk about Marcus Rashford. I think Marcus Rashford is somebody who needs another team, even if that means you play for a smaller club, just to kind of find yourself again.
He needs a change of scenery badly.
Do you think for Pulisic, he's good enough to play in the Prem, but maybe he's not good enough to play for Chelsea?
So if you move him to another team, like a Newcastle, because Newcastle's the team that's apparently watching him very, very closely. You move him to Newcastle, he's going to be Wilfred Zaha 2.0. He will have those brilliant goals that we know Zaha can do. The only problem is, I think Zaha's better. I think Zaha's a better winger than what Pulisic is. I don't know. Christian Pulisic, his best time was during COVID. He was lights out during COVID. Mm-hmm. And part of me wonders that was still during Frank's time. That wasn't during Tuchel's time. Part of me wonders if he doesn't perform well under pressure and under the lights. He has a habit of disappearing in big games. Now, don't get me wrong. He's had some absolutely incredible goals. He's had some absolutely incredible goals for the U.S. team. I don't know if Christian Pulisic is good enough to play in the Premier League as a starter. I don't know if he's good enough to play in the majority of leagues as a starter. He can't stay healthy. And he can't put a consistent run of form. Now, I will gladly eat my words if he goes and he stays healthy and he can put up consistent numbers somewhere. But we're looking at, he's been at Chelsea now for 4 years. I think 4 years. He hasn't had one season where he hasn't been injured, and he hasn't had one season other than COVID Christian, as we call him, where he had any type of consistency.
So basically, this guy is a good practice player. He's also a good JV player, but he's not a good varsity player.
Oh, that's tough. I don't want to slight the man that much because he is really good. He is really talented. I don't know if it's here or what it is. He's got the talent. He doesn't have the consistency.
That's a good JV player. That's a good JV player. I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm just gonna put this in basketball terms. It was this guy we had a foreign exchange guy, and in practice, he was doing Jordan moves like versus everything. They came to the game. 8 minutes showed up on their clock. Lights, the surroundings. He did the same move. Ball went over the backboard. Hey, you coming out? You just sit, not doing anything for him. But we put him in a JV setting. Actually did pretty good. Could that be more
it's a mentality thing?
Could that be more mental than anything?
Mm-hmm.
Possibly so.
Some sports psychologist needs to get with him and figure out what's going on.
Yeah,
what it is, because I don't know what it is, and like you can ask any of these guys, because when we signed Christian Pulisic, I was over the moon. Like I was stoked because he's got it there. Like it's there.
Mm-hmm.
He just can't piece the thing together, and I don't understand. Is it the club? Is it the league? Is it the lights, the pressure? Like, what is it? What is stopping you from being the player that you can be? Because when he looks great, he's shown me flashes of Eden Hazard in 2017 when he was the Premier League Player of the Year. And then, on the opposite, he's shown me flashes of Ross Barkley. Like, and that's not the highs and lows that I want, man.
Nope.
Ross Barkley. So we got about 10 minutes. So real quick, we got about 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from, because we were trying to stick on our 2-week deadline. 2 weeks from tonight will be the day before the transfer window closes. It's 2 weeks from tonight. So just rapid fire. Joe, I mean, what do you give the man who has everything?
If Bernardo Silva is not going to Barcelona. That's what I got when it comes to transfer stuff. Stop tagging me and everything with Bernardo Silva going to Barcelona. It ain't happening. All right. He just bought a new house in Manchester. He's moving out the city center out of his apartment. He's moving out to the burbs. This is confirmed. He's got a house now with his wife.
Oh.
He's settling in. He ain't going nowhere, at least for this next season.
Listen, Bernardo, I don't like Bernardo Silva, but Bernardo, don't go there. They paying people in Groupons. Don't do
Expired
it.
Groupons.
Yeah, exactly. Expired one.
That's free Frankie de Jong. Frankie, don't let them not pay you. Get all your money.
The rest of them too that they're trying to just force out without actually paying them anything.
That's a whole show unto itself. It's the most bizarre thing ever. Zach, 2 weeks left before the window closes. Shopping list for Chelsea, things you want.
Things I want. I want another central defender. I need another. If we're going to continue to run three at the back, shout out to Koulibaly, as I'll call him, with that brilliant goal in his first brilliant Chelsea goal. We need another central defender. I suspect that when it's all said and done, Bowie will end up ponying up the 80+ mil for Wesley Fofana, and he'll end up at Chelsea. And that'll be our last central defender. We can't stay healthy in the midfield, so I'm wondering if we also don't see Frankie de Jong in a Chelsea uniform, especially if they're willing to pay those unpaid wages. And right now I don't want a striker. I'd rather, me personally, I know, and I am not like some Chelsea fans. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Ron. But I want to see Armando Broja get a shot. If you think he is the future, or if you think he has the talents to be in the first team, Kai right now is not the clinical finisher that we need. Give the kid a shot. Give him a shot. What hurt? You go from Kai not scoring goals to Broja not scoring goals. There's no change. And you give the kid valuable minutes.
I don't disagree with you. The Aubameyang rumor has been floated out there.
I'll be damned
if you're Chelsea, I wouldn't.
I'll be damned if you're going to make me pay $30 million for a player you got for free. You out
less than a year
damn mind.
Less than a year ago, they just got him 6 months ago.
Listen, man. Barcelona currency exchange FC. Western Union FC.
No shot. Ronnie, are y'all done over in the other side of London?
I think we might get one more. I think if we're gonna get another, I think we may get another midfielder. We may get another one. I don't think we're gonna get another winger or another striker. I think we need one, but I don't think we're gonna get one. I think be it Tielemans has kind of been bandied around. But I think another midfielder, a midfielder of some type. Not necessarily attacking one, but we probably get one of something.
An Arsenal midfielder of Odegaard and Tielemans would be scary. Scary.
I really would like Tielemans. I think, granted, Xhaka has played well the first two matches, but I have
no red cards.
I have severe trust issues with Granit Xhaka's ability to not do something wild. So
he has earned that.
He has earned all of my distrust over the last 5 years. So another midfielder would be nice. Another striker wouldn't be bad either, because if Jesus needs to rest or has to sit, then we go to Eddie and Nketiah, and that ain't. It's not possible.
So you don't like Nketiah?
Not, I like him as the third. Not like Gabriel Jesus, knock on wood, has to sit down for 6 weeks because of the hamstring, and you got to play Eddie and Nketiah like 5 straight matches now.
I thought Eddie played really well at the end of the year last year.
He did. Eddie, he in that spot role, he plays well. But if you're saying he got to play 90 minutes, you're the main guy. So another striker wouldn't be bad. Another striker wouldn't be bad. But
I hear Aubameyang's available.
Listen, man. On a side note, I watched the All or Nothing, and I get it. How they made him look, I wasn't feeling that. I wasn't feeling that at all. I'm Arteta in, and I'm cool with the project, but they really played him like he was like reckless. And like, all right, if you wanted to get him out the club, fine, but you ain't got to make him look like a dick for everybody to see.
I haven't seen it yet, but
yeah,
I heard they didn't shed very good light on him.
Oh no, yeah, they made him. I wasn't.
You know who? Side note, you know who is available? I heard is actually making a return to London that you guys should probably snatch up.
Don't say nothing crazy, Zach.
What? I thought Willian was a good fit for y'all.
Bye, Zach. Trav, mute his mic. Get out of here.
Man, I always like for live. I've been saying this for a minute. We still need that one more dynamic guy that can make that and then
Yeah, they do.
press and we still need that. Get healthy, stay healthy, and win the games that we're supposed to win.
Yeah,
That's why
Recipe
we
for
That was your
success right
biggest thing
there.
last year too. Was too many draws.
Mhm.
That's what cost them the title last year. Was too many draws against teams that they should have been drawn with. So
that's the thing. That's the thing.
I don't care if they win. If I'm a Liverpool fan, I don't care how that ball goes in there. It could be 1-0 on Monday. They gotta win. They absolutely have to win. A draw is a loss.
Must win. Must win.
Gotta
Win
win.
situation. And I hate it's like every time I look up, we in that type of situation. Like we must win this game.
But
We
that's
must
the thing we was talking about before Zach came on, man. City put so much pressure on you. They just don't give you any room for the margin for error is just none. It's just
none. Right.
Because when City does slip up, because they will, because every team does at some point during the year, they've been so successful prior to that or they will be so successful after that you know that if you're not kind of on that same level, then
It just have a big lead. It just have a big lead over everybody, man. And you can't just anybody got to put they gotta make them play. You too comfortable, man. You good now, Zach.
all right. I disappeared.
It's just too they stay comfortable, man. We got to put some pressure on these folks now, man.
at this point, they've made comebacks to win the league a couple of times out of the last four times that we've won it. So they're comfortable even in a situation where they're coming from behind. At this point, they know that they've done it before. They got a collection of guys who've been here for a long time that have done it, so they have confidence in themselves that they'll pull it out. So
this is the level City's playing at. Liverpool's 2018-2019 squad and Liverpool squad last year win the Premier League the first 25 years in a row with their point total.
Different world now.
And they finished second twice in that time. That's the level that we talk about with that City's playing at. And you can be like, damn, we out the title race on August 22nd.
I said it last week. You can't win the Premier League in the first month, but you damn sure could lose it.
Absolutely can lose it.
And last thing I got before we jump out of here is next week, Thursday, I think noon Eastern or Eastern Standard Time, the Champions League draw for the group stage is going to be hit us up. So we will have next show in 2 weeks. We will have a lot to cover with what's going on in the Prem, but we'll also have Champions League groups to start breaking down too. So next Thursday, noon. On I think they're just streaming it on their website on the Champions League website. We'll be able to see the
it's like 6 a.m. too. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Well, we know
will be revealed.
Who do you think?
Man, City's gonna get drawn with whatever.
Atletico, I guarantee you, we're gonna get Atletico Madrid because they're in pot 2 and they want a repeat of that disaster.
You're gonna get whatever Eastern Bloc side is left in the thing. All know this.
Hey, does anybody know what pot is Man United going in?
They with us. Yeah.
My bad.
So that's something to look out for next week.
Yeah, for sure. We might do. a quick video on that next week, or maybe just do like a pre-record joint talking about Man City when they get Shakhtar Donetsk for the third year, for the fourth year in a row. Or something.
Yeah, they're gonna get Shakhtar. They're gonna get Red Bull. Not even Leipzig. They're gonna get Red Bull. What's the one from Austria?
Salzburg.
They'll get Salzburg, and then they'll get like Olympiacos.
Zach, I'm glad you said that, Zach, because Joe always complained about UEFA, right? But every year it's the same draw. It's Red Bull Tokyo, Red Bull Camden, New Jersey, and then it's an Eastern Bloc club.
Hey, we've had PSG in our group the last 2 years, bro.
Anyways,
the look Ronnie just gave me.
Hey, let me tell you something. 2 weeks from now, put that on the list too. Mbappe versus Neymar, World War IV.
That's something else we need to talk about too.
It's going to be two dudes throwing rolls of extra soft Charmin at each other because they're both like, man, we all know Neymar's soft.
I like Mbappe, but he's wilding right now.
He's acting like a 18-year-old punk, and I'm being polite right now.
Stoppage Time FC, seen as the family. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Look out for a possible pre-record on the Champions League draw. Stoppage Time FC is a Facebook group. Seen as the family. Subscribe to YouTube. Notifications on. Sky Blue Joe, Chelsea Blue Zach, North London Ron, Travis Poole. We out of here.
Travis Poole. It's like that.